Are school meals even healthy? It's a question we hear a lot from parents, community members, and even students. So today, we're digging into what's really on the tray.
Welcome to School Food for Thought, the official podcast of the School Nutrition Association. In this special season, we're diving into the truth behind school meals, looking at some of the biggest myths out there and setting the record straight.
This episode focuses on health and nutrition standards in school meals because, believe it or not, what's being served in the cafeteria is shaped by some of the strongest nutrition guidelines in the country. Joining me are three incredible leaders who bring deep knowledge and experience. Mark Oswald, Director of Nutrition for Meade School District in Washington State. Mary Ellen Gilliam, Assistant Director of Child Nutrition for MSD Wayne Township in Indianapolis. And Dr. Lynette Dodson, Deputy Superintendent of School Nutrition at the Georgia Department of Education. Let's talk truth, transparency, and what healthy really looks like in our schools. So I want to start with you, Lynette. Let's just start with the basics. When it goes into creating a healthy school meal today, how is that different from what most parents saw when they were back in the cafeteria 20, 30, or even 40 years ago? What goes into that tray today that's different than they might have experienced?
Yeah, sure. So there are a lot of changes that have been made over the last really 20 years, but specifically the last 15. So we see the inclusion of more fresh fruits and vegetables as part of that, whole grains. There's been a reduction of sodium. We've been focused on controlling fats, but really we have strong nutrition standards that really do require school meals meet those standards in a unique way that you don't see in a lot of other industries with food service.
Yeah, that's really good for the parents to know that, right? So in our previous episode, we talked a lot about standards and what parents may not know. So Mark, I want to go back to you and ask about exactly that. A lot of people don't realize how highly regulated school meals are. And some people say that school meal programs are the most scrutinized food programs in the country. So can you walk us through a little bit of what goes into making every meal at school nutritious and healthy?
Yeah, sure. It's a huge system, and everybody at every level is vital to actually getting the food on the plate for the kids. Um, the USDA sets the regulations, and then it's up to states and then districts to help disseminate and get the information. So then directors within the districts are able to plan menus, or whoever the menu planner is for that district. And so we have industry partners. They also have to make sure they're within lines. Everything's inspected by the USDA. And so really from a high level, the food is looked at and to make sure that it's healthy and safe for students to eat. And then at the district level, when we're menu planning, we're making sure that we're doing the whole grains, the fruits, the vegetables, focusing on fresh for the kids because that's what our customers and kids want. Then it's everywhere from there to when the students coming through the line with the cute little smile on their face and they might not have a fruit or vegetable today and we get to remind them, it's just all those safety checks to make sure that when they sit down at their cafeteria table that they have a well-balanced meal in front of them. And like I just mentioned, it just takes that whole spectrum of people to make sure that we're achieving that goal.
Absolutely. It takes a big village. And I wish people would know that. So I want to go to Mary Ellen because I know you work with kids too.
Yes.
And and their parents and their families, right? So what are some of the most misconceptions that you hear from the kids in your schools, their parents, things that they, may not know and you wish they did?
So I think some of the misconceptions when it comes to products and things that we serve in our menus is that Child Nutrition has done a very great job of marketing to our customers. So for example, Pop-Tarts. The Pop-Tarts that we may serve in our students or some of those grain-based desserts are applicable and they still follow those standards. It's not your Pop-Tart that you're able to pick up in your grocery store because like Mark said, again, there's this system. So the USDA sets the regulations and then that information is disseminated. So again, just the guidelines, just how we've had that spin to market those products that are very well far as school pizza. We have, our different varieties and things of that nature. But again, the school pizza is still not the pizza that you're able to pick up commercially. So I think those are some of the misconceptions that we often see sometimes when it comes from parents. So I think it's critical that in our positions, we use that opportunity to kind of educate them about our programs and to let them know that we are, regulated and that we're serving the kids the best options and that are with those guidelines that we have.
Yeah, and I wanted to pose a question to the three of you. What are some of the changes that have made school meals healthy over the last, I think you mentioned, Lynette, the last 15 years? What are some of the things that have changed and people might not know about it?
Well, first of all, the inclusion of a fresh fruit and vegetable or a vegetable or fruit, it doesn't have to be fresh necessarily. We encourage fresh, but that being a requirement that has to be selected by the student going in. We've also had a really strong focus on culinary, understanding that with the changes in the nutrition standards and the opportunities to really elevate what's being provided in school meals, training the staff to do that and teaching them how to handle those products well, especially for its fresh fruits and vegetables, has been a really key thing. So, for instance, our agency, I have 3 culinary specialists that are part of my team, and they go out and support schools through our culinary innovation program and really work with staffs to feel comfortable in following more scratch cooking in their menus.
Yeah, thank you. Absolutely. What about some of the dishes that, that you may be serving now, Mark, that, when you're growing up, you wouldn't even think about?
Yeah. Um, Man, so many. I was just dreaming this morning. I remember in elementary, my favorite thing I got excited for was like 2 hot dogs. We called it 2-for-1 hot dogs. And I look back at that and I was like, wow, we've come a really long way. Might still have a hot dog, but it's gonna, not be as processed as those ones earlier, and it's gonna be an appropriate portion size for a kid. And there's great products like Lynette mentioned that are helping school districts like mine do more scratch style food. So when I started in this field about 12 years ago, it felt like there was a lot more processed items, but now it's really easy to find chicken breast that's been cooked that I can put into a sauce. So we have a really popular dish at our secondaries. It's a Cajun chicken pasta.
Oh, wow.
And it has those nice big chunks of chicken. It has a little spice to it, a nice like cheese sauce that has really great ingredients. It's cleaner than you'd find in a can at a grocery store shelf. A cleaner label, I should say. And so I think that the ingredients available to us now are making our jobs easier and better every year to be able to produce good quality food.
Yeah, it's about the partnership with industry too. What about you, Mary Ellen? What are some of the popular things that you've been serving kids been loving?
So I think some of the popular things that we've been serving is, again, just taking that spin on some of the dishes that our customers are accustomed to and making them school-based appropriate. One of the trends that we've seen in the industry is a lot more plant-based, vegetarian-based, like Mark and Lynette said, those clean labels. So I think we're really doing a great job with coming out with the new regulations and just putting spins on those things that we know that our students love, like with the yogurt and different things like that. So I would agree with what they previously stated.
Yeah, awesome. And Lynette, to you, what USDA nutrition standards are most important for the parents to understand? And how do they affect what's on the tray effectively?
Sure. I think it's very complex. There's calorie ranges, as I mentioned earlier, there's limits on sodium, and then the inclusion of like the fruits and vegetables as well as low fat dairy. That's all part of the current standards that operators have to be aware of and plan for. And then there's actually meal groups, or we call them components in school nutrition, but it's kind of the food groups represented as part of that tray. And I think that's a unique opportunity for us to educate children on what really makes up a healthy meal. I think, a lot of times at home, parents are very busy and it can be challenging to make meals for families that meet those same types of standards. And we have that opportunity in schools to model that and expose families and children really to a wide variety of foods. And I hear all the time children tell their parents, Mom, I ate blueberries at school. Will you buy me blueberries? So I see that as a real opportunity in school nutrition.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And we talk a lot about education. And I think a common misconception for most of us is that education happens in the classroom only.
Absolutely.
And, when we talk to, members like you, education happens not only beyond the classroom in that building, but beyond the building, right?
Yes.
So, like, if they're exposed to something that's healthy, that's different, they haven't seen before, and they, elsewhere they might not given it a try, and all of a sudden they have that in front of them at school. That's something that opens up their horizons and their palates a little bit, and then they go home. So I wanted to talk to you about that because what we saw, we usually see is like, of course, we're singing to the choir when it comes to conferences like, SNA, and as all school nutrition professionals here. But I think it's very important that other people in the building, like we saw in the video yesterday, the principal, the teachers, that they understand that. And then that goes home with the student and the parent understand that. Oh, why did you eat that? Oh, I ate that at school. So talk to me a little bit about how do you go about educating your students when they come to the cafeteria or anywhere in the building when they're in contact with you?
We do a lot of what we'd call point of selection marketing. And so that means we're putting marketing where the students are selecting the items. So one of our favorite things that we do in our district is a local harvest of the month program. And so I recall just a couple months ago, we purchased thousands of pounds of local asparagus from a farmer. And so we cooked that. And then where we're offering it to the kid, we put the farm's name and try local asparagus just for today to try to get them excited. And it's been fun on those days because we'll do morning announcements at the schools and we have more staff from those buildings come down, adults come down to eat, and they say, oh my gosh, I have never even made asparagus this good myself. And so I think not only marketing to the kids, but also the adults in the building. And when they see the fresh things that we're offering, they're blown away. I remember when I was in school, I feel like most of my fruits or vegetables were canned or starchy. French fries, corn, green beans were so common. And we still will put some of those on our menu, but man, the amount of fresh fruit and veggies that we're able to serve now blows my mind. And I think that's what a lot of people are starting to see, especially adults as they're coming into the cafeterias with their kids or yeah, it's a lot of fun to offer those items.
Yeah. What do you do in your program, Marielle?
So I think it's all about building partnerships and getting the key stakeholders in place. So like Mark said, we have during the period during the fall we purchase local apples from an orchard. And so when we have those items in the school, we're sending out things that are on their level, puzzles, little educational snippets to say, hey, this apple is from this particular farmer here locally. This is how this contributes. And little fun facts like, when it comes to star fruits and things of that nature, but also getting the parents and getting the principals and the teachers involved as well. Hey, if your students are learning about this, even when it comes to mathematics, science, etc., this is how you can incorporate nutrition. I always like to say that in the educational system, we're a part of that. Most of the time, they spend a lot of their time with teachers, and teachers are responsible for nourishing their minds. And I like to say, as child nutrition professionals, we're responsible for nourishing their bodies. So it's about the whole child and nourishing them in the assets that they need to be successful.
Yeah, I love that's all about partnership, not only with the adults in the building, but with the communities, with the farmers. And I think sometimes people forget that when you're feeding a child, you're actually contributing to a much larger cause. I mean, you're bringing that community together. It's about the connection, right? And we talk a lot about removing the stigma and bringing the community together. So what kind of outreach do you do for your parents so that they, you educate them on what you're being served and so that you bring sometimes I hear about taste testings or, community events that the school nutrition program will cater. Lynette, have you seen any of those initiatives successfully in Georgia or elsewhere?
Oh, yes. And as a state agency, we really try to support our local districts with resources to help with that. We're just recently released a parent guide. So it's a resource that we're going to provide to all of our schools in Georgia to help facilitate these conversations. Because a lot of times those calls come in at the front office and it may not be someone that's as familiar with what's happening in the cafeteria. So we're giving those tools even to our school nutrition professionals to help them understand how to have those conversations. Because sometimes that can seem a little intimidating, but I see that as really an opportunity. And I really encourage parents to learn about what's being offered and served in their school cafeterias. So it is a tremendous opportunity. And our districts are doing it really successfully, I think.
Well, that's great to hear. What do you do Mark, do you partner with local organizations? How do you reach out to the parents, to the community at large?
We're working on a plan that enriches what we've been doing. So I would say we're relatively low key on our approach over the last few years in my district. Our district has a Facebook page, and so anytime we bring in the local produce, we always do a big post on this is the farm it came from, this is what we're doing it, ask your kids what they thought of it. And then after we've had that, we send out little snippets, pictures again, and to all of our office secretaries. So when they're putting together that weekly or monthly newsletter, that they're able to feature what we're doing. So we've been doing marketing like that. We are talking about maybe doing parent days. They'll do like a Donuts with Dad's Day, but why don't we do like a Harvest of the Month Day and make a push to bring more parents in to eat? Anytime we talk to a parent on the phone, we almost always say, hey, you should check out lunch with your kiddo next time. And so we always are happy to have parents come in and eat with us.
Yeah, yeah. I just did that with my youngest the other day, and he was so happy to see me there, and I was like, I gotta try this, and I was surprised. There was a lot of options, and and I saw the kids like what they chose, and I was surprised too. They all chose different options. So I think more, and it's my second son. I had never done that before. I'm like, I can't believe I've done this. And I thought it was, a great time to see actually what they eat, but also the interaction among who do you sit with and whatever to be part of their day. So Mary Ellen, what about you? I mean, what are some of the challenges sometimes that, you face when you're trying to reach out to the community and the parents? Parents are busy, right? Probably that's why I haven't done that before with my son. I'm always working. So what are some of the challenges that you're trying to overcome?
So I think with that, just using the tools of marketing and meeting them where we are very, I would say, blessed in our district that any opportunity that we have to be in part of the community and get in front of the community, we are doing it. Whether it's the parades, whether it's the wellness Wayne days, like all of these different things, when we have an opportunity to get out in front of our parents, we are absolutely doing it. In addition to using social media, a lot of people are receiving their information not in the traditional sense from magazines, etc., but through social media. So using your school's Facebook, your parents' squares, Instagrams, Twitters, nothing is too big or too small to educate them and give them that opportunity with like, hey, Meatless Mondays. Now we're introducing this plant-based product. So this is something that your child is being able to exposed to, using any and every opportunity for marketing. Nothing is too big, nothing is too small. So those are some of the tools that we're using as well, even with some of our programs. Again, the flyers, the brochures, all of those different things to educate the parents. And when they have a question, just, say, hey, this is what we're doing, and meeting them on their level and just using that opportunity to educate them and tell them a little bit more about your program.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mary Ellen. And as we get ready to wrap up here, I want to challenge you guys a little bit to leave us with, if there's one thing that you wish the community or the parents around you knew about school nutrition, what would that be? I'll give you 3 seconds before I go to you, Mark.
All right, here we go. I would say, to give to parents, I would say ask your kids what was available that day. We've had, every once in a while we'll get a phone call and a parent says, oh, my kid said this about today's lunch, and the student made it not sound appealing, right? And so then we'll take that feedback. That's great feedback. And we'll also say, oh, so for today's lunch at that school, we offered fresh this, fresh that, this. And the parent was like, oh, my student didn't tell me any of those options. So just engage in a conversation about food with your student when they get home. And a student's not going to like everything that's a cafeteria is going to serve every day. But just to investigate and ask questions about what they liked and what they saw.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's a great tip. What about you, Mary Ellen? The one thing.
Lynette.
Why am I confused here?
I mean, we're all so lovely. That's why you're getting us confused.
So I would just say, piggybacking on what Mark said, encourage families to educate themselves on what is available and what is happening in their schools. We try to do that from our agency, obviously, to amplify what's happening across the state of Georgia, and we do that through social media and all. But the best thing is to go and talk to the school cafeteria manager, have lunch with their child, just like you did, seeing is believing. So I think that's the opportunity that I would encourage our families to take advantage of, is to go see for yourself what's being offered by these great professionals in this great opportunity to feed students school meals.
Yeah, thank you, Lynette. I think we can all make the time to, spend an hour less than that with our kids. So that's great advice. Appreciate it. What about you, Mary Ellen? One thing.
Mark and Lynette have all said fabulous things. So I think just using that opportunity as a partnership, gaining that valuable information, educating them in that moment, but also using that opportunity to get some ideas for your menu, seeing what parents are exposing to their children at home and how possibly you can incorporate that into the school meals with following the guidelines. So I think, again, two-way street with that partnership, being present, using the resources that are available. And I think with that, we can continue to serve awesome school meals.
Yeah, thank you. I truly believe that too. It's all about partnership and building community. So I really appreciate you being here. Thank you, Mary Ellen. Thank you, Lynette. And thank you, Mark. It's been a pleasure. I've learned a ton. So for next time, we are going to be talking about the myth that school meals are only for certain students. Who are they really for? Don't miss that one.